Last week, my good friend and colleague Lisa Ray, who is a member of Parliament from Ontario, and she's also the deputy leader of the Conservative Party, she got into a bit of a run-in with the Finance Minister, Bill Morneau. Lisa was at the Finance Committee questioning Bill Morneau, and Lisa started questioning the Finance Minister's frankly hypocritical position on gender equity and whatnot. At the end of the day, Lisa ended up being called a Neanderthal by Bill Morneau. And, I've been struggling with how to describe what bothered me about this exchange. And I think what's bothering me about this is it's not just this one-off situation. It's really how Trudeau treats all of us, right? It's this tone, it's this condescending, holier than thou, you don't know best, we know what's best, your opinion doesn't matter, let's shut down a marketplace for ideas, it's only our beliefs that matter. And we've seen this over and over again in the last couple of years, right? So I could give you so many examples. My colleague Rachel Harder being removed from the Status of Women Committee chair position given her beliefs. The fact that anytime I stand up and ask a simple question, as many of you have watched me do over the last year and a half, how much greenhouse gas emissions are going to be reduced by a $40 a megaton carbon tax? Being called names and, just having these debate points just be shut down by Trudeau. And the latest, of course, that I wanted to highlight was the fact that Justin Trudeau, I guess his government issued a directive to Service Canada saying that they can't use the term mother and father anymore in addressing the public. I'm not a mom, I don't have kids, but I know I have a lot of friends who do. In fact, I even have, I have friends who are in same-sex partnerships who have kids, and they use those titles because it means something to them. Being a parent and being called one of those things is something that's, it's a deeply emotive term, and many people use that because it's a source of pride and it's a source of identity. And, when Trudeau issues these directives, I don't think he realizes that he's doing is that he's looking at you, he's looking at us and saying, you don't get to have any sort of thought on or you don't get to have any sort of opinion on what is valid public policy or who you are. It's only about who he is, right? And that's what really bothered me about the comment to Lisa Ray. It was the tone that Bill Morneau used. It was this sneering, condescending, preaching sort of tone that it's the same tone they all use. And the reason why this is so detrimental is that it's really hypocritical, because Trudeau has done absolutely nothing to help the Canadian economy. In fact, or Canada in terms of its place in the international community. In fact, I would argue it's the opposite. Think about this. Like, he has spent so much money. If you guys looked at that budget, he spent so much money that we don't have. It's like putting this on the credit card. And for what? I mean, I've never seen a budget spend so much and accomplish so little. But then to have the gall, especially after the India trip with all of his costuming and priorities on his photos, and it's always about his photos, isn't it? It's always about the photo op, be it with refugees or whatever. It's photo op before policy. Like, what has he accomplished? In fact, I think if anything, it's the world is laughing at us right now. So I just don't think that he has the right, or the left has the right, to put that kibosh on the marketplace of ideas that we have. I think we should be talking about the fact that their carbon tax won't work and is not good for the economy. I think we should be talking about the fact that the level of debt that they've put us in is bad. I think we should be talking about, questioning why we're sending men and women in uniform to Mali. and I want to do another video on that later this week. But it's this thought police, right? And for me, like, you can use the term mother and father without denigrating other people, right? It's just bizarre. But I do feel, for the first time, you know, going into Easter this weekend, that I think Canadians are really fed up with this. I think the India trip was kind of like, okay, we've had enough. And certainly the comments that I've gotten from you sort of say the same thing. But that's why it's so important now that we continue to push on this house of cards that they've built. So for those of you who are watching who maybe aren't really involved in politics, or you know, you're going to go sit around your Easter dinner table or your Passover feast this weekend and talk, or if sake is coming up, you know, and talk to your friends and your family, I think it's right to start questioning some of the thought police items that Justin Trudeau has imposed upon us, because he's a hypocrite in many of these aspects. So that's what I'm going to be taking into some of my work this week. But I just want to let you know that many of us in my caucus, including my leader Andrew Scheer, you know, we want to bring an alternative vision to this country that doesn't involve removing the terms mother and father from the public lexicon. Equality of opportunity for all, not identity politics. Working hard for you. Have a great weekend.